So, when you're watching live TV, maybe the news or a big sports game, ever stop to think about what it actually takes to get that on your screen? For decades, it was all about these massive rooms, just packed with specialized gear. But something huge has been happening, kind of behind the scenes. A revolution, really. We're going to dive into that story, the story of how the broadcast studio basically turned into a data center.
All right, so just for context, this is part 36 of a much bigger series. But today, we're laser-focused on one thing, this incredible mashup of broadcast engineering and IT. And let me tell you, this isn't just a small change. It is the single biggest thing to happen to this industry in a generation.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is the classic broadcast control room. It's just a sea of custom consoles, right? Glowing buttons, dedicated screens everywhere, and the crazy thing is, every single one of those buttons, every one of those dials, it was physically wired to one specific piece of gear that did one job. That's it. It was this super complex physical world, all on its own.
And now look at this. This is the heart of a modern studio. It's a server rack. It's quiet, it's clean, and it's filled with the same kind of IT hardware you'd find in any big company's data center. It looks nothing like a TV studio, does it? So the big question is, how on earth did we go from that room with a million buttons to this?
Well, this whole transformation is really a story about two completely different worlds smashing into each other. You had the traditional broadcast engineers over here. They knew everything about signals, frequencies, all that classic stuff. And then you had the IT pros over here, the experts in networks, servers, and data. And these two worlds were about to merge.
So what happened? Well, it completely redefined what it means to be a broadcast engineer. Seriously. Today, you have to know TCP/IP networking just as well as you know video signals. You're not just managing the airwaves anymore, you're managing all the data packets flying through the network inside the building.
And this created a huge opportunity, and really a total power shift. All of a sudden, if you had an IT background, you weren't just the person fixing the office computers anymore. No way. You now had the exact skills needed to build and run the entire broadcast operation. Your world just became the main event.
So this wasn't just about changing job titles. This convergence literally rewired the whole industry, right down to the actual cables running through the walls.
Okay, look at this. On the left, you've got your old school SDI cables. They're thick, they're clunky, and each one could only carry one video signal from point A to point B. That's it. Now look on the right. Just standard Ethernet cables, the same kind you probably have plugged into your computer. They're cheap, flexible, and they can carry any kind of data, including tons of video streams to any place on the network. This picture right here tells the whole story of the hardware shift.
Here's a good way to think about it. The old SDI world, it was like a city full of one-way streets. Each cable was its own private road for just one car. Super inefficient. But this new IP video world, it's a massive, flexible highway system. Your video and audio get broken up into little data packets. Think of them like cars that can be routed to any exit, anywhere on the network, using the same IT switches that run the internet. Total game changer.
And this whole highway system idea, this led to the real climax of the revolution. It was the moment we stopped thinking of a TV signal as this one single thing. Instead, we started seeing it for what it was becoming, just a collection of data. Data that you could pull apart and then put back together anywhere you wanted.
So what made this possible? The key that unlocked this whole new world was a standard called SNMP ET 2110. And this thing was an absolute game changer. It's what officially let us break apart that traditional all-in-one TV signal, giving us a level of flexibility that was, well, completely impossible before.
I love this analogy. Imagine your TV signal is like a fully built Lego spaceship. What ST2110 does is give you the instructions to carefully take it apart into its basic bricks. So you've got the video, that's one set of bricks. Then you have every single audio channel. Each one is its own little pile of bricks. And then all the other data, like captions and timecode, yep, another pile. Now each of those piles of Lego bricks can be sent anywhere, independently across that IP highway we were talking about.
But wait a second, if you have all these little pieces flying around a network, how in the world do you put them all back together perfectly in sync? Great question. The answer is something called Precision Time Protocol, or PTP. It's basically an insanely accurate clock for the entire network. We're talking sub-microsecond accuracy. It makes sure every single one of those Lego bricks snaps back into the right place at the exact right nanosecond.
Of course, a revolution this big is going to have consequences, right? When you tear down all those old, safe, isolated walls and connect everything to a standard IT network, well, you change the rules of the game, and you open yourself up to brand new dangers and demand a totally new set of skills. Yeah, I'm talking about cybersecurity. By connecting the whole broadcast operation to an IT network, you introduce a threat that those old, closed-off studios never ever had to worry about. It's simple. If your studio is on a network, your studio can be attacked.
And listen, this isn't some theoretical what-if scenario. We are talking about very real threats. Imagine ransomware encrypting all your video files just minutes before the nightly news, or a denial-of-service attack that just knocks your live Super Bowl broadcast completely off the air. Or even scarier, an attacker who gets in and changes the actual content people are seeing on their TVs at home.
So what this means is that the required skill set has just exploded. It is not enough anymore to just know your way around a waveform monitor or an audio meter. The modern broadcast engineer also has to be a network admin and a security expert. You're managing VLANs, you're setting up quality of service to prioritize video traffic, and you are the first line of defense against all those cyber threats. So when you put all of this together, what do you get? You get a completely new breed of professional, the person who is at the very center of making modern television actually happen.
And this new role, it's not just technical, it's cultural. Think about it. The modern broadcast engineer is basically a translator. They have to be the bridge between the production crew, who are all thinking about cameras, shots, and signal flow, and the IT department, who are thinking about network architecture and uptime. This person has to speak both languages fluently. They're the one holding the keys to the whole kingdom.
And that kind of brings us to one last big idea. This evolution, it is nowhere near done. As we see more and more of this stuff move from servers in the building to the cloud, the lines are just going to keep blurring. So here's the question for the future. Will the next broadcast engineer actually need to be a software developer? Someone who literally writes the code that is television? It's definitely something to think about.